Hello everyone. Sharon here, founder of the Training Company, and I am here today with the very lovely Angela Mitchell from Juicing the Lemon, who's going to spend half an hour with us talking about her business, about her freelance trainer journey, etc., all that stuff. So welcome,
Thank
Angela.
you. It's so lovely to be here.
Good stuff. All right. So first things first, for those people who might be watching this who don't actually know you, who are you? What do you do? And how long have you had your business?
We've had the business for 7 years, and what we do is we help people have juicier conversations so that work is happier and more productive. So the three products that we niche in on is the insights discovery,
Mhm.
high performing teams, and then difficult conversations. So it's taken us a few years to get there, but we're really, really clear about our offering and what we can do now, which has been transformative for us as a business.
Wonderful. And I see the little, is that a little lemon tree in the
It
background? Got
is.
that.
It is. We're
It's sort
on
of
brand.
right on brand. Because the name of your business is Juicing the Lemon, which is a brilliant name because it's so memorable. And you weave in, don't you, the kind of whole juice and the squeeze and everything into
Yeah.
everything that you do. How did you come up with the name? Because it's pretty unique.
Do you know what? I came across a marketing book years ago called Juicing the Orange, and I was so captivated by this name and by the writers. It was like, oh, I'd love that. But they're still running as a business, so I couldn't do it. And I just wanted a name that was energetic and conveyed what we were about. So it was sort of juicing the orange, then went to juicing the lemon. But what's been really interesting about it is I had a lot of challenges about it at the beginning. It's like, you're not conveying what you do. But actually, what it does act as is a sift. So those people who find the name attractive are often the people we really want to work with. And for those that the name doesn't work with, it's like, actually, they're probably not our tribe, our group. So I never thought about that at the beginning, but it's actually been a really powerful and useful sift
Yeah.
further on.
Is that because you think it's the kind of name that would attract the people who are kind of curious and have that kind of energy?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's and do you know, I think it's, in the first instance, you're following somebody on LinkedIn or you jump on their website and it's always about likability and credibility, isn't it? And it's about that likability. Is that person like me? Can I see that person in the organization? Culturally, are they aligned?
Yeah.
And I think it often sifts out at that stage
Mm.
um, for us. Um, but that was never part of the original plan. I just like the name.
Perfectly genius. Absolutely genius. All right. So, you've had your business for 7 years, I think you said.
Yes,
I can't believe that it's
I know.
feels like,
I can't remember it.
how quickly have those 7 years gone? So what did you do before you became a freelance trainer and business owner?
So I worked in FMCG for 20 years, so the food business. And for 12 of those years, I worked in sales, which was a brilliant training ground for having my own business. And then I spent about 8 years working in L&D. So actually, it gave me the most powerful base for setting up the business. So I am really comfortable going out and selling.
Yeah,
But I also just learnt my trade.
yeah,
So I knew my L&D trade when I came to set up the business. And I knew that I was really hoping to set up at some stage. So I probably spent 3 years, say from 2014 to 2017, just getting myself set up so that when I jumped, I was ready to go. So do you know what? I had my coaching qualification. I got myself Insights accredited. And I was just very gently making sure that when I made the jump, it was like a running jump in rather than a cold jump in.
what
So,
was it that inspired you? Because obviously you were in this, presuming this nice sort of corporate
yeah.
job, and you know,
Um,
and you were obviously planning your escape at some
it
stage.
was.
By the sound of it. But what was the
Because
inspiration?
so there was two things. So in 2014, so 2013, 2014, I had to go and work on a project up in Liverpool. that took me away from home. And I sat there going, I've got no choice about this.
Mm,
And what I wanted to do was have choice again. And I knew the only way to have choice was to get myself skilled up more than I had, because I thought I'm not good enough to jump in the marketplace to another job. Well, that's what I thought at the time. So I thought I've just got to get skilled up. And I was also in my late 40s, and it's like, am I going to do this for another 15 years? And
mm,
I was in a lovely team, and it was like working with a group of sisters. But it was lovely and it was comfortable. But am I going to do this until my mid 60s?
yeah.
And it was time to shake it up.
Yeah. And there's something about that. That's the bit I've always loved about having my own business, is that there's
Yeah.
something about just being in control of your own destiny.
Yeah. And I would always argue, the first 2 years, all right, it is the hardest, there's no question. But I think once you've got yourself established, I genuinely believe you've got more job security than when you're employed,
Mm,
because
mm,
you're in control, you can see what's coming on down the line, and you've got choices.
yeah,
And my experience, especially the last few years in the workplace, you're just looking at redundancies all around you, and it's like,
yeah. There's no such thing as a
yeah,
secure job anymore, is there? So
yeah,
at least when you have your own business, you've got, you are in control. And because I say all the time, and I do firmly believe that when you have your own business, you can actually do anything you want to do. It's your
exactly.
business. The only thing that's stopping you is you. You
Yeah.
know.
So,
Um,
so yeah,
Okay, so you kind of the seeds were sown. You were inspired to set up your own business. You kind of took that leap into the great unknown, and sound like you did a little. You went into it though with quite a bit of planning, from what you said. Um,
yeah.
but what was your biggest challenge that you encountered?
So getting clients,
Hmm. Yeah,
um,
everyone says that.
absolutely. So getting clients, pricing and understanding what to do with pricing. And I think the other big one for me was finance.
Mm,
And I really didn't understand how to structure my finances and plan my finances so I understood the business. And
mm,
it took me about 4 or 5 years to do that. And if I could do anything different, I would have done some learning beforehand to understand, actually get straight onto QuickBooks.
mm.
Just get onto QuickBooks or
Yeah,
Zero or something like that. Learn how to set up a P&L
mhm,
and really understand the costs and what you need to earn in your business. And
mm,
just get on top of your VAT, if you choose to be VAT registered, your taxes, just so that nothing is a surprise and you're
mm.
making better quality decisions.
Yeah, I love
Because
that.
it took me several years to get there. And once somebody taught me how to do it, it was like, I understand what I'm doing now. And I can make decisions because I'm real like head, let's go do this. Sorry, heart, let's go and do this. Actually, let's make them with our head as well.
Yeah, yeah. And even with all that planning that you did, why do you
Because I
think
never thought about the
yeah,
finances.
why did you miss that bit out?
Because I was so excited about the L&D part. Do you know what? I had been an employee for 25 years and it was like I never had to think about that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so interesting. I laugh because, I tell people all the time that, you know, before they go out and start talking to anybody, before they go out and, start doing networking and stuff, they've got to get really clear. They've got to get the foundations in place. They've got to
Mm,
get really clear on, who you are, what do you offer, who do you offer it to, what are you selling, all those sorts of things. What are you
mm,
charging? And so many people, in my experience, fail to do that
yeah.
because that feels like the boring bit. That feels like, oh, but I can't be doing, I'm not earning any money while I'm doing all this thinking and planning. And I need to get out there and start talking to people, And
Yeah.
but it is really important, isn't it, to get all those
I
foundations
think
in
it's often that, you've got to go slow in order to go fast later.
place. Mm,
And I know I went fast right at the very beginning.
mm,
And actually, I then spent so much time later on pretty much when we went into lockdown, unpicking my finances, figuring out what was going on, and actually how do I get a system in properly that I'm running a business rather than going from month to month and I can just about pay my mortgage and it's like, oh, I'm all okay. Actually, how do we do this properly?
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised when the accountant tells me what my tax bill is.
I'm not surprised that the first thing out of your mouth when I asked you about what was your biggest challenge, you said straight away, getting clients, because
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody says. So what in particular, what was it about it that was challenging for you? Because you're a really, switched on, and you already said before that, oh, I don't really have a problem selling, but yet you
Yeah.
found it difficult or challenging. You want to share with us something around that?
Um, so it was like, well, so, so now I have inquiries and it's like, do you know what? It feels much easier. And when we've got a momentum, but at the beginning, there is no momentum. And it's like, yes, you're confident, but I think it's trusting yourself and your product and your offering. And it's like, oh, somebody's going to pay me for this. Um, I mean, I had a pretty good network. So actually, I went out to my network quite a bit at the beginning, and probably did quite polite pricing because I was so grateful for the work. But actually, that was all experience, so it was fine. Um, LinkedIn, so I worked quite hard on LinkedIn. Um, I did a lot of associate work.
Mm,
So at the beginning, I would say 80 or 90% of my work was associate, but I always talk about that first 2 years in the business is like an apprenticeship,
yeah,
and you've got to work the apprenticeship.
yeah,
You've got to do 2 full years to understand the whole business circuit. And actually, going and doing the associate work helps you understand actually what our real client needs.
yeah,
And hence, when you're doing your own direct work, what are you selling to? Um, so to be honest, I just said yes to everything for 2 years and worked my backside off doing associate work, did the apprenticeship, and then got more confident about doing my own direct work.
yeah.
Uh,
And I love that. I do. I love the description of that, of the first 2 years as being an apprenticeship.
it
Because
is,
I mean, I did the same. The first year that I was all associate work, and
yeah.
I got to the end of it and kind of like reevaluated, and as you do, and is
Mm,
it really kind of what I want, and am I confident enough to get clients on my own, and who would ever want me? All that sort of stuff that we
exactly.
go through. It's all, yeah. I mean, we could talk all day, couldn't we, about the stories we tell ourselves,
Mm,
because that is, again, that is foundational work. That is part
yeah.
of the work of being a business owner. So, so you had those sort of first couple of years, and you did loads of associate work, and then you moved into getting clients of your own. And now, I know, because I know you well, that your business is doing really well, and you've got lots of direct clients, and you're quite niched as well in what you do.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? So how do you get your clients now?
So now, repeat work,
Yeah.
um, advertising. So we really invest in pay per click.
Mm,
We've done a lot of work on SEO, so we've invested in SEO, so getting experts to help us with the SEO. So we have put the investment in, but that's only because the business is built. So we've then got money to do the investment
yeah.
in both of those. If pay per click, I tried to do it myself at the beginning. So
Oh,
much wasted money.
no.
It's like find an expert that you understand. So not a 22-year-old, because I never understood the 22-year-olds, but find a lovely middle-aged person who talks your language and you can have a sensible pay-per-click conversation. But that's brought we get a lot of work through that. LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, we look to post once or twice a week. What I don't get new clients, but what I do is it reminds old clients. And then the other one is our newsletter.
Mm,
So we did a lot of work with the newsletter in sort of 2021. Then it went on the back burner. We have just started it now again.
yes.
And we had a list of like 50 to 60 people when we started. We've now got 5,000. But again,
Wow.
it's built up over the years. That's just building it up.
Yeah.
And that just goes out and gently reminds people.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, and it's your list.
Yes. Yeah. I'm a big fan of newsletters, as you know. Had mine for 15 years, and I just keep sending it out pretty much every
Yes.
Friday. And it's amazing, how people, it just reminds people that you're there, and it's great,
Yeah, so it's just been really cute with that. So people that we've got proposals out with, we just stick them on the newsletter, we get them on the newsletter, just
Yeah.
tip, tip, tip.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Just picking up on what you were saying about pay-per-click and SEO, investing in SEO and all of that kind of stuff, which you do now as a matter of course, because you say that you've got the money to do that.
Yeah.
But there must have been a time when you kind of felt, I've got to do this, and tell me about that, and what helped you to actually start doing it.
What, to start doing the
To
pay-per-click?
start investing in pay-to-click, in
pay-per-click.
Because you must have gone through that feeling of, oh my God, I can't afford this and all the rest of it, but you did it anyway.
It did. And I think it's just getting to a stage where actually there's a little bit of spare money in the business. And it's like, right, I either take that as dividends or I invest back in. And actually, if I'm not, you've got to invest to grow it. I think and for me, it's about actually the business doesn't grow unless it's nurtured and looked after and invested in. So, are you investing in the team that are working with you, even if they're freelancers? What are you doing to invest and help them skill up? What are you doing to keep your website up to date? That requires investment. What are you doing to keep yourself skilled up? But it's also actually, what are you doing to invest to bring in? And I think it's, you've got to run on a shoestring at the beginning. There's no two ways. But you will only get it to a certain size. And I think it's about you need the investment to help it grow and flourish.
You have to invest in your business. You have to.
Yeah.
It's as simple as. So it's lovely to hear you to see
Yeah.
that you've been doing it. I think you said one thing that you wished you'd have known before you started out. You mentioned about the finance. Was there anything else that you wish you'd have known before you set out on this journey?
I guess there's something about just how isolating it is.
Mm.
So, I mean, I worked in sales for 15 years and, you pretty much work by yourself, but actually you are part of a team, even if the team is spread across the country. And I did not anticipate the isolation or the loneliness of it at all.
Yeah.
And I do remember the first couple of weeks just going, oh, who do I talk to? Who do I chew this over with? And I had no, and then I remember somebody saying, actually, you've got to find your tribe.
Yeah.
Got to find your tribe. So, when you go self-employed, you've got to find a tribe quickly.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my goodness, that rang in my ears.
Yeah. And so you found Trainer Talk.
Yeah. And do you know how I found Trainer Talk?
How did you find us?
My mother found Trainer Talk.
No, I don't think you've ever told me this before.
I was around there having lunch one day and she's going, do you know what? I found this amazing group and I think you should look at it. I was like, oh, what does my mother know? Oh, anyway, so she sent me the details. I know she sent me the details and I went on. It's like, oh, this looks like it could be my tribe. It was like my mother was so wise. And it was, I think it was within about 3 or 4 months of me having started. And actually, it was really good catch time because I was having that, oh God, this is lonely. And then there was just, this wonderful tribe to step into.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So it really lifted me and gave me a momentum and just a sort of like metaphorical hug.
Yeah.
Because you come off the high of starting a business and you're into the and the 2 o'clock in the morning worry moments, aren't you? It's like I'm seeing a lot of 2 o'clock in the morning worries, and it's like this is hard. And actually, there's other people in the same boat. Yeah. Some ahead, some at the same stage, some earlier on in the journey. I think that's what's quite nice about it. And you learn from everybody as a result.
So it was really what made you decide to join. I guess it was that because you suddenly found that there was a space you could go to
Yes,
where you would be supported and be surrounded by people who understood
yeah,
what your challenges were.
that's exactly it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you, Mum. What's her name?
Thank you, Mum. I still tell her to this day. It's like that was one of the best pieces of advice she ever gave me.
Thank you so much. So Angela, so you found us, you found the Trader Talk community, and you've been a member now for quite a few years, which is amazing, and we love having you in our community. So what's been the biggest benefit for you of being part of it?
Um, so I think particularly in the early days, for me, it was when we did the face-to-faces up in Stratford.
Yes?
I know, and we were in a different time then. We were in a
Yeah.
different time, but also the virtual catch-ups as well. So the business clinic, so just coming on and just being able to chew stuff over with people, particularly in the early days, that's been useful. And I know I got consumed with busyness by the business, and I'm now looking to manage that. But actually, sort of stepping back into some of those business clinics again now, it's like, and you always hear something on them that just
Mm,
gets you thinking, stimulates your thoughts, shakes you up and you're thinking a little bit. Or, if you're having a tough time, actually, it's not just me at the moment. Um, so I think it's just about the reassurance and just connecting with fellow trainers.
yeah. Absolutely. And I'm interested if you how Trainer Talk, apart from all of that stuff that we do within the community, um, we talk about the fact that we all understand each other's challenges. So could you share with us perhaps something, a challenge that you've had that you feel personally Trainer Talk has really helped you with, helped to overcome it?
You know what? Lockdown.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
5 years ago this week, isn't
Oh
it?
my God. It's like a different time, isn't it? But
It
wow,
is. But
wow.
it was
Yeah,
such an interesting time because, do you know what? So I've been up and running for about 2.5 years, and it's like, do you know what? I've got this.
yeah.
Do you know, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I've got it. I've got an order book. It's like, and then the whole thing crashed. It crashed for everybody, didn't it?
Good, yeah.
And Trainer Talk, to me, absolutely stepped in at that time. So I think there was what you did um, on, as a whole, but it was through Trainer Talk that there was 5 of us just got together on a weekly basis because of that connections. There was Mark Williams, Christine Morrison, Dave Freeman, and somebody else.
Claire,
Um,
maybe? Claire Samuels? Claire?
no, 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 no. So I work with
Yeah.
Claire now, but no, Simon Linnard.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And actually, because we're all sitting there going, oh gosh, we've all got to learn how to train virtually now. And do you know what? It was because of the introductions and the connection. The 5 of us got together once a week for about 2 months,
Yeah,
and we all, presented to each other, practiced, gave feedback, held each other to account in terms of what we were doing. And it was, because I felt like I went through a second apprenticeship when we went into lockdown. It's like,
yeah.
how do we pivot our businesses and get ourselves in a position to work in this new world? Actually, most amazing apprenticeship. But to me, that got supported by um, Trainer Talk. So, what was happening on the macro level, but also just some of the sub work that was going on as well,
Yeah.
as a result of the community. Transformative,
It,
absolutely transformative for me.
yeah. It was amazing how everybody really pulled together, and there were
Yeah.
so many things. I think there were about 2 people in the community who were already doing virtual training,
Yeah.
and pretty much everybody else wasn't. And once everybody had got over the shock of kind of like, oh, my business
Yeah.
is going to be okay and survive, because it was classic change curve stuff,
Oh,
wasn't it?
completely.
It was like shock, denial, anger, and then sort of coming in right back up again
Yes.
and learning new things. And it was amazing how everybody kind of really pulled together and helped each other out. And
Yeah.
yeah, well, absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Which was brilliant for me because that was, well, not COVID, but but that was when I conceived, the idea for my vision for Trainer Talk, if you like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it for me, that's what it's all about, helping and supporting each other,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
in times of need, but, all the time, every day,
Yeah.
so,
And for me, it was like the support and the accountability.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
do you know what? It's like, so it's just making sure I didn't get too cozy. It's like, okay, so you said you were going to do this last week. Where are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
if you
that
could,
for
oh,
me was
sorry.
a really, really specific one.
Yeah.
And then do you know what the other thing? And I know it's interesting, isn't it? So it's like, one of your key messages is around niching. All right.
Mm,
And it's like that message that keeps going through. And it took me a few years for this penny to drop because, and actually, I don't regret it. I think at the beginning it was useful to go out and do everything and to understand the downsides of doing that. And one of the things that turned the business around was being really clear about niche. And actually, I had to have a couple of niches before I found the niche that I was really passionate about. But it was almost only the drip feeding from you about the importance of doing it. It's like finally penny dropped. And again, the business just pivoted once that took place.
yeah. You see?
It was.
Yeah, no, and I
It
can
really
see
was.
that. I can absolutely see that, and from when I look at your business,
Yeah.
it's very tightly niched, and it just makes everything so much easier, doesn't it?
It
Because people
does.
know what you do, and they know
Yeah.
who to refer you to, and all of that stuff.
Yeah. But again, I think it's about, there are some key messages that I think get shared around the Trainer Talk community. And sometimes you don't hear them until you're ready,
Mm,
which is why the repeat is useful. And then when you're ready, it's like, oh, okay.
yeah,
And actually, this is the suggested process.
yeah.
Um, so I would suggest that was the other very powerful.
Mm.
It's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Wonderful. I'm going to give you one of those really annoying questions
Go
now.
on.
If you could describe Trainer Talk in 3 words, what would they be?
Um, do you know, I did write this down earlier. So encouraging,
Mhm.
that would be my um, stretching. So I think when you're with the right group, I think it is a wonderful place to get stretched
Mhm.
and pushed, um, and then supportive. Because I think, it can feel at times that you get quite bashed up in the outside world. And
Yeah,
it feels like a place where you can just come back to and go,
yeah, yeah,
and actually you will be looked after,
yeah,
and you'll be supported and you'll be encouraged, but I think you will also get pushed. And I think one of the things that you do very nicely is like, okay, so what are you going to do next? And actually the accountability bit is so important, but it's about how you balance that accountability with the support, isn't it?
yeah.
And understanding what people need at different times, um, feels good. I think I've used about six.
Right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So, what would you, as somebody who's been with us as a Trainers Talk member for many years, what would you say if somebody was maybe watching this video or had heard about Trainer Talk or had got one of my emails and was thinking about it and was thinking, oh, I don't really know what would you say to them if they were thinking about joining Trainer Talk?
Yeah, I would say it's like it gives you this instant access to a team of colleagues. So when you're sitting there by yourself at the kitchen table trying to pull something together and you feel so isolated,
Mm,
it's like being back in the open plan office
yeah.
and having 100 people that you could tap into.
Mm,
Um, and I just think it takes the edge off the isolation. And it's like this brain box that you can tap into and this support network.
mm, mm.
Um, and yeah, and it's if you've got your Mighty Networks or your LinkedIn, it's just actually just like little ticking through the day. It's like, oh, do you know what? There's a community going on and I can tap into that at any stage. So Yeah, so for me, it's like having 100 instant colleagues. And I think what's really interesting is you develop relationships over the years. So there's
Mm,
some people who've been in for 7 years, and actually I've just watched their journey as well. And actually it's lovely because you grow and learn together,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which is super. And then there's people that come in just after you and a little bit behind, further behind in the journey, and actually can you support? And then you learn from them, and that's it. So to me, what it does is it almost provides this safe place from which you can blossom and
yeah,
deliver your own business.
yeah. And it has been lovely for me personally over the years to see different people come in and their journeys and how their businesses have developed and blossomed, yours being one of them. And, it's just brilliant to see. Absolutely. And if we
And
be able to
again,
play some small part in that, that's amazing,
yeah, and it's well actually, so it's going back to, I remember you and I, was it 2018, 2019, and gosh,
Yeah,
it was 2019 because that's right, my life had turned upside down. And we did quite a bit of one-to-one coaching,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was a whole different place.
yeah.
And that coaching was so important to transforming some of the thinking and some of the approaches, and being held to account as well.
Oh, yes.
You
I like
know, it's the
that.
accountability which is crucial.
Absolutely. Well, this is absolutely wonderful. I could spend so much more time with you, but I know that you're a very busy person, so I won't keep you any longer. But before we leave, how can people find out more about you and your business if they want to find out more?
Oh. So we're at juicingthelemon.com.
Yeah.
We're all over LinkedIn, and we've just set up our Instagram channel.
Oh, I'm gonna have a look at that.
I'm like, oh gosh, am I down with the kids now? But actually, I love following stuff on Instagram. So why are we not on there? So we're just setting it up at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can find us in those three places. But yeah,
Wonderful. All right then. Well, a pleasure as always to
thank you.
spend time with you, Angela, and I'll see you again in.
Lovely. It's been great chatting. Thank you, Sharon.
You are so welcome. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you.
the day. Bye. Bye.